Hey guys, welcome back. So yeah, I'm just doing a video. Will Chisora struggle without the Don Charles effect? It's a question that I thought, well, the first thing I thought about when I heard about the split. I thought to myself, Chisora will struggle because Don Charles brings out something out of him that stylistically for opponents has been tricky. You know, the best performances from Dereck Chisora have come when he was with Don Charles, in my opinion. Look at the times he wasn't with Don Charles, which fights against Pulev, Kabial. And if you look at all Dereck Chisora's losses, when you think of the Pulevs and the Kabials, you think, besides those two, you've lost a pretty, okay, maybe forget the Pulev, maybe Kabial, you've lost a pretty, and put in good performances against tough guys. I mean, Vitali, you know, he put in a good performance, he was consistent, you know, at the 12th round, he was still going. Vitali wanted to stop, you know. David Haye got dropped a couple of times, but he pushed David Haye. David Haye said one of the toughest chins he's ever fought, and he hit him with shots that, you know, would take guys out. Credit to Chisora there. Tyson Fury the first time, it was quite competitive. I mean, Fury beat him quite comfortably, but he still put in a good performance to still keep his name active, even though he lost his own. And the rematch, he got outboxed and outclassed, but still managed to, you know, he's always a tough guy to take away. So, you know, the corner had to pull him out. He took a beating, but he still, you know, a win for him is keeping on his legs, I suppose, and he could rebuild from that. You know, Fury outclassed him in the second fight. Other fights such as the Dillian Whyte first fight, many thought he won. When I first watched it, I thought he won. Second time watching it back, I had Dillian winning by a couple of rounds actually. But he put in a tough performance, one of the Dillian Whyte's toughest fights. So a lot of people he lost that fight, so that was a good performance there. I'm trying to think of it, all other losses. And then obviously the second fight he lost to Dillian Whyte. He was winning on points. He was pressuring Dillian, he was winning on points. And he looked good, he looked fit, he looked muscular, he looked strong. And he just got hit with a powerful punch after getting 2 points deducted, controversially. So it's very understandable for people to question, you know, all his fights he's had Don Charles. The 2 fights he didn't have Don Charles with, Kabial and Pulev, quite poor performances. He lost and he performed and looked poor. So just that's one of the styles. And Chisora's style with Don Charles has always been come forward, relentless pressure, hit the body, keep going. And with his style, you've got to take a lot of punishment. And I mention this because I'm going to talk about some of Chisora's best performances with Don Charles. Carlos Takam. That fight, he took a lot of punishment. He opted to rope-a-dope. Don Charles talked about after the interview that in all of Dereck's fights, he fights a certain way. In that fight, he couldn't fight in the middle in that way because Takam was just too strong, too powerful, too many combinations. So Dereck opted to rope-a-dope and catch him late on in the fight. That was their strategy going into that fight. And obviously, well, I think going into that fight they wanted to trade. Getting into the fight, I think it changed into let's rope-a-dope. And Dereck was on the ropes and obviously landed a big right hand to take Takam out. Many people thought that was a good performance for Chisora. I thought it was an amazing fight to watch. Fantastic performance, great fight. But I was worried about Chisora's taking a lot of punishment because those kind of fights you'd opt to get hit a lot. And yeah, it just takes it out of you. You know, you really end up really hurting yourselves and it can damage your punch resistance. A good example is Bermane Severn. You know, the first Wilder fight, he took a lot of punishment. You know, he took a hell of a lot of punishment. You know, not as bad as Chisora took with Takam, but this black guy took, I mean, I don't know how Chisora was, you know, Severn got dropped once, he didn't get counted in that fight, and I think it was the second round, but he took a hell of a lot of punishment, and Wilder was bashing him up for 12 rounds, and I believe that destroyed his punch resistance going further. He got dropped by Derek Rossi, a journeyman, he got destroyed in 1 round against Wilder, so we saw the resistance change dramatically, and I kind of saw that with the first round in the Dillian Whyte second fight after the Takam fight. We saw Dereck get hit with a straight right hand, fast counter, but Dereck looked more stunned than usual. I mean, he wobbled backwards. He kind of wobbled and pushed it back against the ropes. And I was a bit worried. I thought to myself, that early Chisora's getting hurt. Did that attack and fight take a lot of him punch resistance wise out of him? Question to be thought about going forward. It's why I did the video. Does Dereck Chisora still have the chin? You guys can check it out. It's still on my channel. But going back to the Don Charles effect, Don Charles would bring out a lot of him getting hit, obviously. But at the same time, early in Derek's career against Sam Sexton and other people, Dereck had good head movement. And he showed a little bit of that in the Dillian Whyte second fight. He bobbed and weaved. And when Dillian Whyte did an interview after the fight, he said Dereck was tough. And one of the things he didn't anticipate that he did different to the first fight is his bobbing and weaving was very good. He would bob and weave the right hand and he would get in the middle up to Dillian's chest and be able to throw good body shots. You know, very, very good tactic-wise. Now, Don Charles, in my opinion, gets the best out of Dereck Chisora. I think we've kind of established that in those kind of fights. Okay, he's lost a couple of the big fights, but stylistically for Dereck, he has really, I feel like, improved in terms of that Dillian Whyte second fight. That's that style, you know. He did really well. He was winning on points, relentless pressure, and he got knocked out with one hell of a left hook. What can you say? Now, looking at after the split, I was a little bit shocked, but I wasn't shocked at the same time because, as many of you know, Dereck hasn't left Don Charles before. But what was different about this split was Don Charles said in an IFL interview that when he left Dereck Chisora the first time, it was on mutual grounds. They both agreed to go their separate ways because it would help both of them. And Don Charles said he didn't think there's anything else he could offer Dereck. Coming from the Takam fight, Don Charles was happy, Dereck was happy. Both of them were, you know, happy. But Dereck Chisora ended the commitment with Don Charles. Don Charles said in an IFL interview that he didn't know why. Dereck just cut it off. He didn't tell him the reason. I'm a believer in the reason because obviously after the Dillian Whyte fight, it was a big left hook, devastating knockout. Got knocked out cold. Dereck is a prideful man, and someone like Dereck, similar to Andy Ruiz, they don't hit the canvas a lot. You know, they are one of their main strategies in a fight and in any fight, win, lose or draw, is that they can keep on their feet and they take the shots. They're used to it. Whatever, you know, they move, they've got a good chin, they've got a good recovery. That's always their thing. So even when Andy Ruiz got dropped, there was a bit of a shock in his face, and I was like, I've never been here before. Whoa, you know. And he even said it in one of his interviews after the Joshua fight that he was really shocked because it wasn't more of a hurt, it was more of a wow, I've been dropped. And when Chisora got knocked out cold to Dillian, it was more of a prideful, I've just got knocked out cold. And I don't know if any of you guys know, but Dereck Chisora has never ever rated Dillian Whyte's power up until that fight. The first fight he said Dillian Whyte can't punch. In the lead up to the Lucas Brown fight, he told Lucas Brown Dillian Whyte can't punch. He didn't hurt him at all. He hasn't got any power punches. In the lead up to the second Dillian Whyte fight, Chisora said in the ring, when they were doing the weigh-in, he said, not the weigh-in, the warm-up, he said Dillian Whyte can't hurt him. He hasn't got any power punches. He can't hurt him, and you know, he hasn't got a punch that can bother him. So, and he even said in the first fight, the lead up to that fight, Dillian Whyte couldn't knock out Ian Lewison, Dave Allen, and in sparring, Dillian Whyte didn't have much power. So Dereck Chisora never rated Dillian Whyte's power. So for him to get knocked out cold against a guy who didn't rate his power, he has to question a lot of things. Because Dereck Chisora's never been knocked out cold. Yeah, you got dropped by Hay twice, but he got back up. You know, he got back up. So it does put questions into your head of why Dereck Chisora would have left Don Charles. I mean, Don Charles made a statement saying, I am disappointed, shocked over Dereck Chisora split. And he admits Dereck Chisora put him on the map. So again, I think, you know, Don Charles was devastated about the loss. He thought he could still offer Dereck a bit more, and the split was not mutual. It was more Dereck thinking about, he's been knocked out. I've kind of been over this again with Don. Maybe it's time for a change. And you guys know how I feel about this change. I feel like the question I asked, obviously, is will Dereck Chisora struggle with without the Don Charles effect? I believe he will. 100%. This new style that Dave Coldwell is incorporating, this boxing style, I don't think it suits Dereck. And I don't think, not that it don't suit him, because, but again, this is what he's in. He's in a boxer. Derek's always had to double jab. He's always had a good jab. He's always had a good enough hook. I've watched Dereck for his whole career, and I know Dereck has good styles. Obviously, sometimes he doesn't punch correctly, but he's still got good fundamentals. But to get the best out of Dereck, I believe it is the war style. And I think him and David Haye are kidding the public if they're going to incorporate that war style in his new style with Dave Coldwell. Because we saw in the Gashi fight, it wasn't a war. Okay, Gashi ran, but he didn't stop Gashi or block off or cut the ring enough to do it. You know? And we'll see in the Spilka fight if he's really on this war, if he can really take the punches, if he can really give it, if he can really, you know, show it. Because a boxing Dereck Chisora will be interesting, but I don't think he will get the best out of him going forward. You guys let me know what you guys think. You know, I read one of the comments saying Chisora looking to get damaged long term, carrying on. Sorry, but just greed. So him basically saying that Chisora needs to leave Don Charles because he's getting brain damage, and I understand that. But again, this is boxing. He's gonna get hit doing the Dave Coldwell style, maybe not as much. I know Derek's getting in age, and there's only so much he can continue. But I do think that the Don Charles effect will reason him. We've seen with Kabiya, we've seen with Punlev, two accomplished guys. Kabiya not really that accomplished, and they managed to outbox Chisora for 12 rounds. So going forward, if he wants to go over that level to even European level, or just the Daniel Dubois, the Nathan Gormans, the Joe Joyces, the Adam Konakis, the Millers, you need to have that certain amount of toughness and strength to keep it going. But again, we're going to find out in a Spilka fight. I'll do a video on that. You guys let me know what you think about the video. Like, subscribe, and yeah, peace out.